Everything. Tell me everything.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. We're live at Broker Carrier Summit. We're doing the Tell Me Everything podcast. Let's run through the lineup here and intro yourselves, and then we'll jump in it. Go ahead.
You want me to go first? All right. Steve Best. I'm the founder of Nationwide Equipment Transportation. We're a freight broker and a huge supporter of Danielle and the other guest panels here, WireBee. So
Yeah, and he's a TikTok star, and follow him on TikTok. Come on, give yourself a shout out.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can follow me. I'm sure they know me. If they're watching you, they probably know who I am.
Oh, cocky is. They probably know me. Yeah, true. But yes.
Yeah, you can put it up on the page if you really want to.
I'm going to, of course. You never know. You may have a couple of new followers.
Maybe, yeah. I'll take what I can get.
Perfect. All right, Andre.
So I'm Andre Tamarat. I'm one of co-founders and CEO of WireBee. Relative newcomer to freight and logistics. Really liking what I see. And happy to help with whatever feels like is helpful for this industry.
Yeah,
because it needs a lot of help.
Yes, I know, and we'll get into all this stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about it because, as you guys know, I'm sure everybody's heard me talk about WireBee, but I freaking love your guys' stuff. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm another co-founder of WireBee. My name is Solomiya, and I've been in the freight space for quite some time now, so I'm happy to be innovating it.
Yeah, she grew up with her parents were carriers, so grew up basically all in logistics. Cool. So let's talk. Andre, I want to hear your story. So I know you said you're new to logistics. So talk a little bit about kind of what you were doing before you did, I guess, WireBee.
So I actually spent almost 25 years in. I started, my tech career building computers. Then, I was building telephone networks in the early 2000s. I co-founded a company called Broadbox Communications, and we were one of the first nationwide voice over IP backbones. So we built a network that was used by other telephone companies, next generation telephone companies that were building VoIP services like RingCentral, Twilio, Skype for Business, Microsoft Teams, etc.
Wow.
So
you're kind of smart.
kind of.
He thinks he is.
I know, right?
It sounds like it.
Well, that's cool. I was in telecom I was on the sales side, but I did telecom for a while. I sold phone, internet, and TV, but I did landline phone. And so I think it's interesting knowing like the landline and how it works, because it's totally different than there's a lot of stuff that goes behind an actual phone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I'm happy to report that both landlines and mobile phones are now in the back, all using voice over IP technology.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the old tech was called circuit switch telephone network, and
that was the little boards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's way back when.
Yeah, but that was mostly used in long distance networks.
Okay.
And it's gone in the lieu of voice over IP.
Okay. Interesting. So that's kind of how everything got switched over. And now we can call anybody. We don't have to wait till after 9 o'clock to do this.
Well, it mostly affected rates.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the technology itself is much more efficient, but it had a dramatic effect on rates, and also deregulation helpful.
Yeah. When I first started my freight brokerage 20 years ago, we had AT&T, and we had to have all these multiple lines through AT&T, and it was super expensive, really expensive, and it was really hard to get. If you had 10 employees, you had to have 10 different lines, and you had to pay them for each line, and so the VoIP coming along was huge for everybody in our industry specifically.
Yeah, the way I got into telecom, into VoIP, was actually throughout 90s, I was in business of building computers, custom computer systems, and selling it to retail customers, right? Mm-hmm. And we had 1-800 number, and, we had a big sales team, support team, making, hundreds of thousands of, minutes in long distance.
Yeah.
And those bills were crazy, 5 to 10 cents per minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I got fascinated by that, and I said, let's try to fix that, There's new thing, internet. What if we can send telephone calls over internet? And people were saying, are you crazy? Our computers, you want to put our phone calls on the computers? Our computers are crashing nonstop.
Right.
I'm not putting my phone on it.
Right.
I don't forget.
And then here we are now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's so interesting how basically just that whole thing works. So then how did you come up with the whole WireBee? And you guys kind of came up with that together. So you can talk more on that, I'm sure. But sure.
So we actually started WireBee with the fraud prevention aspect of it. When we first started looking at brokerages, and I mean, we started in a little bit of a pivot, but when we started to look at the actual problems, fraud is so prevalent, and that's where Andre's background with the Lefty kicked in. He said, well, one thing we could really help with fixing right away is taking a look at these spoofed calls that are coming in and identifying them for people. And that's how we first got into what WireBee is today.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is these bad guys are so good at doing like all the spoofing, and to me, it's like, how in the world do they even figure out how to do these things? But they do, and so it's really, since you guys route, we'll get. I guess you guys need to say the whole thing of like how you guys do all the things, but the way that you guys like grab the phone calls, and have like detect spoofing, because like VoIP, for instance, some people are saying like, VoIP is terrible, whatever. VoIP isn't a bad thing. Most businesses have VoIP. Yeah, I think on a driver level, they shouldn't have VoIP. But for a carrier business, a dispatching service or a dispatching company, they need a VoIP.
They should on the driver layer. Everybody should have VoIP.
Everybody should have VoIP. On a driver level, they usually would have a cell phone, though.
But you can have app on the cell phones as well.
I got it.
Yeah, you can have your app on there, which I have for our business. But the one thing I love about WireBee is like the spoofing aspect. But we had one phone number that came in, and there was 50 MC numbers with that one phone number.
Well,
And so that right there just gets rid of the fraud completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, the way this whole thing came out, it's interesting. When I learned about this fraud in logistics, so as Mia said, we were actually working on a little different product for logistics. We were working on banking and payments, which we decided not to pursue because of the competition.
Yeah.
Too many players. So when I learned about spoofing, and all this fraud, and I said, you know what? They're using voice over IP technology to commit this fraud, to spoof the number. So why don't we use VoIP and my experience in VoIP to help combat that?
Right.
And so we're using VoIP to combat VoIP fraud.
Yeah.
So that's
VoIP versus VoIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very cool. So break down, I guess, a little bit on what exactly you guys do. Like, I know you guys do a lot more than that, too. So kind of give your little elevator pitch on WireBee, which I love doing that part, too. But I want you guys to do it.
Also, WireBee is an AI-powered communication platform for freight brokers to help them facilitate inbound. Well, for right now, it's an inbound traffic, but we're working on outbound as well. So help them facilitate inbound traffic to get a better performance from their carrier sales teams.
What I love about it is whenever I was a carrier sales rep, this would have been so cool for me. Like whenever you post a load and you have 100 phone calls come in, you're using two phones and you're trying to figure out who's the best guy. Usually you're going like, what's your MC? You look terrible. That's Steve's thing, right?
That's my line.
Right. What's your MC? No, you look bad next. Flopping back and forth. And so you can see the whole queue with you guys and be able to say like, okay, this guy meets my standards. This guy doesn't. This guy's blocked. Maybe it's like one of those carriers that everybody, as soon as they say their name, he said, bye-bye. I'm not going to say that name out loud, but, making sure that those calls are not even here. If you want to. But yeah, it's cool because you can filter out all those guys and just talk to your core people. Like, hey, these are I want to talk to them before I talk to anybody else because usually they're waiting in the queue. And by then you have to cover the load and they miss out.
Yeah, we're helping you get to the bus carriers faster.
Yeah.
So one of the main features of our product is our ability to connect to carrier vetting tools, such as Descartes MCP on highway. And even before a human rep answers the call, we inquire about, the MC number of the calling carrier. We check and, we do a quick API dip into carrier vetting tool. We pull all the information about that carrier relative to the broker that's using the platform. And the broker, for instance, they're not interested in cannot work with this particular carrier, you can politely reject the call. It happens to almost 50% of the forwarders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
I know that the fraudsters hate it. They literally hate it. They call back 4 or 5 times. They think it's going to work the next time. They're going to make it through the system, and they know. Yeah. It cracks me up. Like they'll call back to back to back, and I'm like, bro, you didn't get through the first time. You're not getting through the second or third time.
You can see all these calls. So you just don't have to answer.
100%. Yeah, I don't even have to answer them. Don't even have to do anything. I actually don't even look at the queue when we're posting. We don't post that many loads anymore, but when we do, it'll rattle off, but we don't look at it until afterwards, and then that's when we go back in and we block all those carriers if they're not already blocked, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see the black, whatever you call that little black thing, and see all the different MC numbers, and we just go block them all.
Yeah,
So that's another thing.
yeah, it's like this feature came as a side effect of the service because we're collecting all the MC numbers of the callers. We actually building a graph of the relationship between MC numbers and the phone numbers that they're calling from.
Yep.
So we can actually tell you that, oh, this caller ID, we seen this caller ID was at least like 25 different MC numbers. Now, it can be a total legit third-party dispatcher. We can be a fraudster.
Yeah.
Start trying different MC numbers.
Right.
So we give you this information. You're the broker, you can make your decision, but it's much more it's educated.
Right. And it's all brokers sharing data at the same level too. So like it's not just my data, it's all the brokers' data, which I really like because that's collaboration. That's getting everybody on the same page, right? Like we have to fight it together. So
And it's obvious that all the data anonymized, so you don't really know which
Right.
broker this data came from.
Right.
But yet, as a customer of WireBee, you can take advantage of that.
yeah.
So cool. What are some other use cases that you guys use for it?
Really just the vetting side of things. That's what we use it for. The spoofing thing, being able to identify the bad players quicker, but really it just helps us scale quicker. Like we don't have to have as many carrier sales reps. Like we can cover more loads faster. So I really have only 3 people that cover loads for my book, and they can do it 10 times faster than they used to because we don't literally, the 100 phone calls coming in doesn't exist anymore. We get like 5.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
I can't even imagine that.
it's so awesome. Like you would have loved it.
I know on MCP stuff, we use you guys for our customer service because we were having to, whenever somebody would call in to get verified, we were having to recall back out because you never knew if it was a spoof number and you had no idea what was happening with the routing and all that stuff. Even calling back out, sometimes they can route the calls. And so with you guys, with all that, basically we've been saved and we don't have to deal with that stuff anymore. So our turnaround time on that was just so much different, and we can see up front who's calling in. So that way we're not wasting that time. Like, hey, this carrier is whatever, or this is a broker calling in. I need to get them to the broker line. Like it actually filters things through. It's biggest fan over here.
Yeah. Right.
So basic explanation of the service, what it does, it streamlines.
Yeah.
It streamlines your communication.
Yeah.
Carrier to broker communication, and you guys as a use case at MCP, because you're communicating a lot with carriers, you kind of in the same boat.
It probably can be used across different industries too, not just freight, for fraud in other industries. I would assume eventually you guys could go after some other kind of company that's taking a lot of inbound phone calls but needs to be able to identify if the phone number's spoofed or not, I would assume.
Maybe, but our goal is to go deeper within logistics.
Yeah.
Before we
So you guys have some plans to maybe do some other AI stuff for the dispatch, carrier sales, and negotiations. I know you guys talked about it, right? You guys are okay. We're excited for that. So you guys got to hurry up. We need it yesterday. We needed it yesterday.
So we're gonna add them outbound tools that allow you to do an outreach in
2 carriers to try to offer them the load, right?
Yep.
right on
Okay.
the sourcing.
Yep.
And also after you cover the load, to continue communicating with the driver and the dispatcher in the same conversation.
Yeah.
So that's to cover that as well.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
And obviously all the information, every single call, all the data is collected, calls are recorded, calls can be transcribed, we can extract data from, unstructured data, we can extract structured data from unstructured phone conversations.
Yeah.
So that can be used for rate intelligence, can be used for...
Even just training.
Yeah.
Like training a new rep would be like, this is how, because honestly, being like a carrier sales rep or being a broker, that lingo that we talk on the phone is totally different. You know what I mean? Like you're like, let me place you on hold and check with my manager. Meanwhile, you're just turning around and you're like, oh, I can't do that rate or whatever. But it's, the whole lingo on this and that. And, everyone's like cussing out on the floor and doing all these things. But I think it's cool because you can transcribe and you really use it as like, okay, this is how we talk. Because that, like I said, other than being in the trenches and doing it, having kind of a manuscript from the transcript.
Yeah, we get a lot of customers telling us that they're using our recordings for so many purposes, like maybe just sending them back to the carriers and saying, hey, this is actually what we talked about. Here's proof.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful and a cool.
I haven't used that yet. I haven't done any of the recording stuff yet.
Yeah, you could save it. Soon we're going to transcribe it too. So I could read over exactly what your rep was talking to the carrier about.
Right. And we're only using it for inbound carrier calls, but it would be nice for the outbound sales. When you're doing outbound sales, right, and we're calling outbound, to record those calls and be able to put them into the CRM.
Oh, yeah.
Like there is a system that does that now because my marketing team uses that, but that's so nice. We literally, when we have our 30-minute calls, it's recorded and it goes strictly into their CRM.
Interesting.
So that then they don't have to type up the call.
Yeah.
Like it's AI and it like summarizes the call basically.
That's nice.
And then they can refer back to it later. So like if they get that into their system, that'd be cool for us to be able to integrate that. So.
Honestly, I'm like the worst memory. Like I'll like have like a sales call and immediately it's gone. Everything's gone. So I have to record and have it. Like I think I know it's my crutch a little bit, but yeah, I love that stuff.
Not
I
only
have to.
record, but also extract information from it
Yep.
and save it in your CRM or
Yeah.
TMS.
100%. Yep.
So we talked about this before, where the spoofing stuff and how there's definitely some things out there I think that say that they can detect spoofing, but really the way that you guys do that is like really the only one I think out there, right? Is there other ones that are doing things similar? I don't think anybody's doing it as raw. So I guess talk a little bit about that and like how.
Don't give away the
Don't give
keys
away
of
the
the castles. Yeah.
Like,
Please,
what makes
please.
you guys different in that or other people?
So Andre can't talk because he's all the technical, way technical. The main thing is that you have to detect it in real time. The only time that someone could spoof a phone number is while they're calling you. And so we get to collect that data, we look at it, we analyze it, and that's how you could detect it. And then the way to then test against it is to call the person back, call that number back. And we automate that process for you,
That's huge.
saving a lot of time
A lot
and
of
keeping
time.
your person on the line,
Right.
which is the MCP use case.
Yeah.
And
So-
what makes us different from, say, potential competition is that the way we're interconnected at the phone network. Like because of my background and the relationship that I brought to the table, we interconnect at the carrier's level. So we're not at the retail level.
Right.
Most people using, say, providers like Twilio, right? When you use Twilio, you don't get the access to the kind of data.
The raw data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does someone spoof a number? I'm not smart enough to know how to do that, but like how do they do it is it from a VoIP system that you can spoof, or can you do it from a cell phone? Can you spoof a number from a cell phone?
Yeah,
you can.
Well, so
There's
you want to do it step by step?
No.
Is the information? Maybe they're done.
I just want to know, like, is it something? It's an app that people spoof the number so that it looks like they're calling from a certain number. Is that?
It's not really, yeah.
Basically,
there are some apps that can help you spoof numbers.
Yeah.
But the way I would spoof the numbers, I have a server, that connects to the voice over IP network. So what I would do is I would set it up in a way.
The caller ID, basically, right?
So every call that I place through that server replaces the caller ID on it. So
Yeah.
that's
Basics. It's that.
the downside, and also the advantage of voice over IP. It's very flexible.
Yeah.
It allows you to, if you know how to, if you understand the protocol and you know where to do what, you can make some changes to to some data within the core that's going to make it look like it's coming from somewhere else.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because telecom is a lot more complicated than what I think people give it credit for. Like especially like old school telecom. I know voice over IP. It still is, but it's it's gotten a little bit more mainstream. But I think just knowing that background makes a big difference when you're actually providing a service where you're dealing with it. And what's nice is you guys sit on top of their phone system, so it's not like an actual phone system you guys have. Basically, the routing of it, you post to like your guys' WireBee company number.
Yeah.
And then the caller will call in from that, and then you guys basically show it up on their screen, and it goes directly, basically forwarding the call, but there's no delays, and it's instant.
It's easy. And you mentioned the phone system. So sometimes we explain ourselves as WireBee is a firewall for your phone system. So our service is in front of your phone system. We issue the phone number that diverts traffic to our platform so we can inspect it, do what we do with it, and then send it right back to your phone system. Okay, so that's what we do now, but very, very soon we're going to release some functionalities that will allow you, some features that will allow you to basically take the call right from your browser. So you won't even need the phone system. So you can still use a phone system if you want, but it's much easier to answer the call right in the
Right.
browser.
Almost like getting like a Teams call, I guess, right? Like
yeah.
a Teams number, and you answer from there. So cool. Yeah, I love what you guys are what you guys are doing. So Mia, I want to hear your backstory. Say your whole thing.
Ooh. How far back do you want me to go?
I know, whenever you were born.
No.
Okay.
Back into the 80s.
She wasn't alive in the 80s. What are you talking about? Well, your parents owned a trucking company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they still?
They do.
Okay.
They're coming up an age where they're ready to retire here shortly, but they're still in it.
Okay.
How many trucks do they have?
They have 40 trucks.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Out of Cleveland, dry van?
Out of Cleveland, Ohio, they're all dry-van, primarily truckload freight.
Nika's Freight Group.
Thanks for that shout out.
What is it called?
Nika's Freight Group.
Nikos. Okay.
Nika's. Yeah, so they've been in it since they came to the States. So they moved over here in 2000, started with one truck and grew the business from there. Got a pretty large warehouse, so you consolidate some freight, cross dock, things like that.
Well,
And you worked there when you were growing up?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know my daughters hated coming to the office,
yeah.
but I loved going to the trucking company when my parents owned a trucking company. It was great. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, 13. My parents had 13 trucks in the early 80s or late 80s to early 90s. But my dad died, and so they had to sell the company. But yeah, it's interesting business to be around when you're a 13-year-old kid. You get all the truckers coming in, and you get to see some things you probably shouldn't see.
Right. Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah,
cool.
I remember at 13, 14, like getting on a forklift and riding around the terminal.
Yeah,
Fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think because you have that carrier background, like we've talked about this a bunch of times, where I think there's a lot of times where carriers get marked bad when they're not bad. It's like I think a lot of people are so, like the fraud story is so scary that everyone's just like, no. And really that limits a lot of capacity. It makes good carriers look bad. And so like whenever we've talked about with WireBee, like, hey, you guys should do this, or you guys should do that. Or you guys are like, well, yeah, we're not going to make a good carrier. They'll look bad potentially. Obviously catching the bad guys, but mainly just showing red flag this. It could be bad. It could be fine. Just like, Andre was saying with like dispatching services. And some dispatching services are great. Like if these owner operators need something like that. Some people operate completely legal. I think the biggest thing is there needs to be some type of, way that you vet that, or they're more, I think the dispatching services that are more open about being a dispatch service, like, hey, by the way, I am a dispatching service. This is how we operate. This is all my, legal documentation saying I can do the contracts and the rate sheet and all that stuff. And a lot of people don't, which is what the problem is, but they try to hide it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going away in the industry really quickly. Those guys overseas are getting less and less business because the carriers are realizing that, why am I giving the keys to the castle away to someone halfway across the world that I don't know who it is?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that as a trucking company would be a no-brainer for me. I would not do that.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to hire a dispatcher, I'm going to know them. I'm going to be able to shake their hand. And that's why I think something like this, the Broker Carrier Summit, is so important, because we can actually face-to-face meet people, realize who we're doing business with, which is the way we used to do this when I started 20-plus years ago. It was more relationship-driven, right? Instead of being all tech, all online, all over the world, it was right here in the United States. And now it's become so worldwide that we kind of lost that, and we need to get back to that to some degree. So their system, like you were talking about, though, with their system is it still allows you to have that human element to say, is the carrier still good or not? Right. And if it is good, then okay, cool, we're going to let them come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that obviously everybody know happening in the industry right now, a lot of communications are being moved to I call it the pure play AI agents.
Right.
Voice AI agents, email, SMS AI agents.
Yeah.
And that removes that human touch for a lot of communication. So WireBee is somewhat of an alternative for the brokerages that do not wish to transition their entire carrier sales to AI. So one of the reasons why people transitioning to AI, well, one is to cut cost, and other is to free up some human capacity.
Yeah, we just don't have the employees.
So WireBee, by virtue of eliminating traffic that you cannot work with anyway, you're given some time back to the carrier sales team, so they can actually develop meaningful relationship. They can vet new carriers better, right? The ones that they really want to work with. So that's one of the greatest values in our service.
And I think after 2020, everybody got, I mean, I was guilty of this too. Whenever we were working from home, and at the time, whenever we all got sent home, we didn't have a phone system that worked at home for everybody. We had a VoIP, but we didn't have our own things. Anyways, so it was like a post to email. And I think we all got really bad at that. And we all post to emails. And then that's when fraud just went rampant because we quit doing that phone conversation with somebody, even just like the extra step of verification, like, hey, did you get the rate sheet, or hey, this, or just something. You know, like we weren't even calling. I know some brokers are like, yeah, I don't even call the drivers, I just text them. I'm like, well, okay, well, that's why your load was stolen, to be
Right.
you need to be talking to people.
From what I understand, it's easier to commit fraud. You know, I see more fraud over email and messaging.
100%.
People are hiding behind that typing.
The people are letting them. They don't even
their voice there. You know,
right. They don't even confront them on it, which is
right.
And I think what's like the AI part of things with fraud, like I think it's kind of scary because they can, you know, hide what their voice sounds like, and they can hide, you know, make them sound like this or that with AI. And I think, you know, not to say like certain whatever sound different on phones, but sometimes that you have a little bit of a spidey sense whenever you're hearing a tone and they take a little bit too long to answer this, or a little bit too fast for this, or scrambling to find their MC. Like having an AI bot to do that too on like a carrier calling a broker. Like I think that would be the next shift in fraud. That's my prediction.
Yeah, maybe WireBee needs to also do email verifications, right? Like you got to get them out.
I know now.
Yeah, we in our plans we have a lot of things that.
Yeah, the email thing would be awesome. Like where you were talking about, like, hey, the email is verified coming in.
Yeah.
Because so many, and that's what I love about MCP is we will not let anybody book in our system without it being a verified MCP email. And so many people aren't doing that. And if they would just do that little bit of a step, they would save themselves so much headaches, because you don't have to worry about someone mistyping an email or adding a little number that you didn't pay attention to, and you send the rate confirmation to someone you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what I like about that. And then the connection with WireBee and just MacroPoint, all of it together. Like, you can run a very successful freight brokerage and keep yourself fraud-proofed.
Yeah.
If you just slow down. Like, I think you were saying that right before we got on here, right? Was talking about slow down a little bit.
Slow down, make that extra, like, outbound call. Yeah, I think so many people, they just are going, and I get it. Like, I was slinging freight myself, and you got to do that at some point, but you also need to be like, okay, I covered these 5 loads, now I need to finish and kind of recap what I just did and make the phone calls and make sure everything's fine, kind of re-vet. I was where I got to, I double vetted up front, booked it. I didn't send out addresses or pickup numbers for the initial rate sheet. And then by the time I covered, let's say 5 loads at a time, I then recapped and did the conversation and talked to the drivers and did all this stuff, and then sent a new rate sheet with some more info on it. But I think a lot of people just kind of, like I said, throw things out there and they don't do any additional checks. And even if it's your dispatch team that does that extra step, there needs to be something in there.
Yeah.
Who knew this was going to turn into a Frog Girl episode?
Well, it's your show. You just control the show, girl. You do you.
Yeah. So, what else? I guess we talked a little bit about what's new, what's coming out with WireBee, but what do you guys think was as far as like the changes that you guys have seen since you've been in the logistics space? Do you feel like there's going to be a different shift in kind of all the conferences you see? What's your guys' like prediction and things?
I actually think that going back to the relationship side of things, because there's so much tech kind of getting thrown at everyone in the space, the shift is going to be more towards the relationship side.
I hope so. God, I hope so.
And also the relationship side of the tech side too. So everybody today, we got different colors, right? All you yellows, I'm staying away from most of you guys because I don't want any more tech than I already have, right? But no, I'm just kidding. But coming to these and being able to talk to the people that are doing the tech, because if you are in this industry and you don't know who you're partnering with,
right.
You could partner with the wrong tech that could steal your company from you. At the end of the day, brokers...
There's a lot of tech out there that is a brokerage on the back end.
Yes, 100%.
That's happened.
That's been going on through factoring. That's been going on through just trying to data mine information from you. So you have to be really careful what tech you get in bed with, really. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but that's true.
Right.
So you better know who you're partnering with.
And what their privacy policy, because that's a big thing I don't think that's talked about enough either. It's like the people who are collecting that data, what are they doing with that data? Do they own the data? Do you own the data? Where are they putting that data? You know, there's people that have to list their privacy policy. So read those up and make sure that your stuff is where you want it to be.
Yeah, our agency model with our freight brokerage anyway, it is strictly you control your own data. So, like, we see it from the back end a little bit, myself and my team only.
Yeah.
But nobody else can see it. And there's too many agency programs out there that are letting people see everybody's stuff, and that's dangerous as it all can be. But like you were just talking about, just knowing what that privacy is, what that data, where it's going, who's controlling it, because they could literally backdoor you really quickly in this industry. And so you have to be careful.
And even with you guys, since you guys, have all the brokerage, technically all the phone calls, you're sharing that information on the back end, but you're not seeing like, oh, this carrier usually works with this broker.
No, we're not seeing any of that. No.
So you guys are kind of doing the data mining, but making it where you're getting that, prevention, I guess, and saying like, yeah, this guy does have X amount of whatever, because you're working with those
collaboration. It helps me as a smaller broker more than anything, because you guys are working with some very large brokers, so they're taking more calls than we are. So now I can identify what, you know what I'm saying? Like they called this many times for these many people, but not being able to see who it is. And that's important. Like we've got to collaborate to solve the problem. Yeah. And this is a collaboration tool that allows you to see the data you need to see without like giving the keys to the castle, right? Kind of.
Yeah, and like the relationship part, like you were just mentioning, that's why like the Broker Carrier Summit is my favorite. Like everyone's like, what's your favorite show? Because I go to a bajillion shows throughout the year. I'm like, the Broker Carrier Summit honestly is my favorite. Like I know we're here right now and stuff, but literally it is my favorite. I love that everyone talks to each other. The networking is really great. You guys, I know, have had the similar experience with this, right?
This is our second one.
Yes, right. But on the carrier side too, like you, like being able to talk to them and find out their problems, and because you know that with your parents' trucking side, but as a broker, I guess I never sat down and talked to a carrier like this.
Yeah.
And I had carrier relationships, but not like this.
I only have a few where they'll drive into Kansas City and we'll go out to dinner. If they're in through a town, they have time on their clock. They'll be like, hey, Steve, I'm in town. Let's get together. I only got a few of those, but it is nice.
I had you got to have those boys in your back pocket.
Yeah, when you call, get it done.
Yeah. From our product perspective, my prediction, I'm sure when most people in the industry predicting that this recession is going to be over soon.
Yeah.
Right? And also there's going to be a lot of capacity going, out of the market.
Right.
So there's capacity is going to be getting tighter, and brokers, the tables will churn. There's going to be much more outreach from brokers to carriers looking for capacity. And from a product perspective, we want to make sure that we're ready for that we have tools and features that allow our customers to
get
communicate in both directions and use omnichannel, so phone, email, text.
When will that be out, Andre? Fourth quarter next year, or
so we'll
third quarter next year, second quarter?
Outbound that we're testing
Cool.
already.
So it's coming fast.
Yeah, got tests and production. The additional channels, email and text, probably first, second quarter of next year.
Okay.
And what I love about your company too is it's a lot of more of like pull your bootstraps up. You guys like are doing the hard work, not just subbing this out to here, or doing this and throwing this marketing this like crazy and blowing a bunch of money here and there. You guys really like bootstraps up, coming out there and meeting people, and a lot of your guys' sales too is just word of mouth, I'm sure, right? Or yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's the best way to grow, because it's a good product, because the people are talking about it.
Yep.
Customer referrals, it's really nice.
How many do you get from my TikTok channel? Just curious.
We've gotten a few. We appreciate that.
I know. I and everybody's like, you should get paid for saying this. I'm like, I don't want to get paid. I want it to be a service that people use. No, I want people. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get paid for it, but I want the people that I know are helping the industry. I want them to do well, right? Like Dan said, hey, you should get, because I have probably 50 people from my TikTok here because of that. And he was like, I should pay you commission. I'm like, no, I want people in the room that want to fix the problems, right? And I'll do it for free. I'll just promote everybody because I know it's a good product.
Yeah.
We appreciate you for it.
I'll be out to Cleveland soon.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to come out.
Let us know ahead of time. We'll take you to Cavs game.
Yeah, a what game?
Cavs game.
Cavs? Oh, yeah.
Really
Gotcha.
a good sports team.
We definitely won't go to an Indians game or Guardians or whatever, because they're the Royals, unless the Royals are playing there. I do want to come there to go to a Royals Cleveland game, but that'll probably be...
They play probably at least 20 games a year.
Yeah. I went to Minnesota this year and watched the Royals play there. So Cleveland's... I go to stadiums. That's kind of one of the things I do. If I'm in a town, I'm going to go to a stadium. But
we won't take you to any Browns games.
Yeah, I've been to two of them. I actually was at the Dwayne Rudd throwing helmet game in the 90s when the Chiefs played there. And it was the last second thing. The Cleveland player took his helmet off and threw it, and it got us a penalty. So we got to kick again, and we kicked the winning field goal, and we were there. It was
typical Cleveland.
That's the Cleveland Browns for you, right? Yeah.
Well, isn't the stadium of the Cleveland Browns? It's freezing most of the time.
All the time. Most of the
Well,
time.
for now, it's actually moving to, and we're going to have a dome.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah. In 2028.
Yeah.
29, we're going to have a dome stable.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But for right now, because I always complain about being cold. That's where I grew up in Minnesota, and now I live in Georgia for a reason. And they're like, yeah, you don't want to go to the city, because I went up to Cleveland. I'm like, I want to go to the
Browns. It's on the lake. The Browns are on the lake, so it's brutal. And Cleveland is just.
Let's say the wind hits off of it, right?
And it's always a packed stadium, so you know that they're real diehard.
Yeah, they are.
That thing.
It's terrible.
It is terrible. It's horrible.
Cool, it's not be.
Let's talk about Broker Care Summit. We're here, right? So everything just started. I literally got my badge and sat here. I haven't even been anywhere. Have you walked around?
I literally could have just came yesterday, golfed, did the putting thing, and hung out last night at the bar like I did, and probably left today and been fine.
Okay.
Because really, that's how much networking I did yesterday alone. And then already this morning, obviously, people are coming up, recognize me from TikTok or whatever. But no, I'm super excited. This event, if it can grow, has a chance to really be one of the best in the industry, because it's not like some of the other stuffy ones, right? Like this is a more like, I like carriers like to come and hang out but see, the thing about carriers is they don't know how to sell really. A lot of them are not comfortable being in, and gets them out of their comfort zone. It literally puts you in front of every broker you could possibly think of, tech, whatever, and you'll see like the different colors, the carriers are red. And so they're the ones that are the wallflowers. Yeah, you have to go say something and get them to talk a little bit. Now, they'll come up to me because they know who I am, but you can see, like, this is a very uncomfortable situation for a lot of driver, owner, operators. But I think it's good for them to get here to do this right here. It's a good testing ground to go out to a shipper and be able to, let's say, I want to work with you as a shipper, because they're so scared to do that.
Completely agreed. And that's why brokers exist.
Right.
Because carriers are
Because we're sales. That's what we do best, is we sell. And if you can't sell, you can't run a company, let alone a trucking company. Like, you better be able to sell.
Yeah.
And we could transition into that a little bit, is that the social selling thing that we do. I get so much business from some social media coming to me, wanting to work with me. Because of what I've done on TikTok and other platforms. But as carriers, the ones that are doing it well, like the 40-foot hotshot guys that are showing their trucks and showing the loads they're hauling, they're getting business from TikTok. People are calling them like, I want you to haul my freight. Come work with me.
Yeah, because they're seeing, again, that they're real
It's
people.
proof. It's social proof. That's what it's called. I'm actually doing a talk in Kansas City about that. Entrepreneurship Week in Kansas City in November. I'll be on stage talking just exclusively about this topic, because it is so important right now to understand what your audience is, where they're at, and get them to know that you have social proof, right? Like, they know we're real.
Right. And like, I think even having a social background, it's like you're not going to disappear in a day, because, you built up this network and you're going to be there for a minute.
Yeah.
Plus, we have people engaging,
100%.
Every single video that we put out there, there's comments. People engaging, they talk to each other.
Some are good, some are bad, but hey.
And I see you're pretty active, responding.
I respond to everybody, yeah. I will like every post. I read every post that people have, and that's very important. That engagement's more important than anything, because that builds an audience of trust. They know that when I put something out, it's the truth for the most part. I'm not lying or making stuff up. And there's a lot of stuff I won't speak to on social media because I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the wrong thing and then have people, because I've had a couple videos where I said maybe the wrong thing and I questioned myself, was I wrong?
Right.
One of them was cabotage, the Canadian cabotage thing.
Oh, yes.
I just made a video about that because I'm totally against, obviously, those carriers coming over and running loads in the U.S., which they're doing at a huge scale. Like, people don't realize how bad that is. The Canadian carriers, the Mexican carriers, they basically come into the U.S. on a Monday, deliver their load, and then run loads all week in the U.S. Because brokers don't even realize that they shouldn't be doing it.
I heard about Mexican carriers doing this. It's
same thing.
What Canadians do too.
Yeah, Canadians are probably worse than the Mexicans about doing it. But
Terrible.
Terrible.
Always tariffs.
No, tariffs, right? Well, that's what they said, Andre, is that there's not enough loads in Canada. So they come here.
Because of tariffs?
I don't know if that's it, but I mean, they just come here because there's more loads and they know they can get more loads here. But brokers, like when they call, a Canadian carrier calls me, I can see it on WireBee, Canadian phone number, and they're like, I'm calling about this load from Kansas to Florida. And I'm like, no, you're not, because you're a Canadian carrier and you aren't allowed to do that. And they just push back sometimes. They're like, yeah, I can. I'm like, no, you can't. Goodbye.
I see your profile.
Right, I know who you are.
You want us to block those for you?
No, we don't want you to block them because I want them for Canadian loads. I want it, because they honestly don't know, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I do on my channel, is educate people on the right. I've been doing it for so long, like I've seen a lot, and so I have a lot of expertise in that.
Right.
But I want people to do it the right way, right? So.
Well, and just circling back over to the sales part of things, I think what's interesting with brokers is they're, like we said, they're salespeople. And so like being at Broker Carrier Summit is the ones where like you got to step out and be like, hey, like see somebody in the corner, hey, what are you doing? Let's hang out, let's network, and let's do that. And then on the tech provider side, you're selling to salespeople. And I think a lot
That's
of
gotta be tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
I think for brokers, though, you have to be very, very, very honest and transparent. I'm sure you guys deal with this too. Like, the more they can read through the BS because they are salespeople. Because they've done it. They throw out that BS. I mean, that especially
We got a BS radar that goes off it's pretty quickly, really quickly. You know, most people do, but like I think brokers are really good at it.
Yeah, me too.
I think the best way to sell to brokers is not to. That's the secret sauce. It's just
not to sell to
just
them.
educate.
Yep.
And then have a real conversation.
Yep.
Well, and honestly, that's what you want to do is educate. Like that's you guys are here to help the industry. And that's really what we're here for. Like there's a lot of things that are messed up, and yeah, maybe my tech can solve things, but also you guys, bless your hearts, you guys don't know any of this stuff. You know,
we also get educated. You know, from my perspective, Broker Carrier Summit is interesting to us because we sooner than later will have a product that's carrier facing, where carriers can utilize WireBee in a similar.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the same manner, but in a similar manner brokers can. So it's important for us to hear both sides.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're providing communication tools that help facilitate communication within the ecosystem.
Right. And that's the most important thing in our job is communication, right? Like you're in the best part of what we have to do every day.
Mm-hmm. And for carriers, really, they're getting screwed over just as much as brokers. It's just not on an enormous load level. It's on a, can't pay their fuel bill level. Like they're not getting paid on loads, and then or also they're getting hit on their insurance for scams. Yep. And then their insurance rates are going up. And I mean, like it is affecting from the ground up. And a lot of that too is they're not vetting the brokers that are calling in, which would help with the phone calls because a lot of times it's the fake phone number that's calling and they don't vet that.
Yeah.
And they get hit on the fraud stuff too. Yeah. Like on the carrier side, a double broker could try to sell you that load and then we get lost in the wind and you just haul the load free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what we talk about a lot is if it's too good to be true, a lot of times it's probably fraud, and it is too good to be true. You're not going to get paid.
Yep.
But
and if it's a blind shipment, it's probably fraud. Not always, but
I do a lot of blind shipments. I do some blind shipments. But no.
Why do we not have a better system for blind shipments?
But when it's blind and it's going from California to California, it's fraud.
Or to me, the delivery address should be the actual address. We should be rerouting from a delivery BOL, or at least you have original BOLs that has real things, and secondary, and you go to the real one.
But for the rate confirmation on a carrier side, it's got to have all the information on it. I put it all on there, and then I send a fake bill of lading if I need, like a blind bill of lading. But the rate confirmation of the carrier shows everything. But if you're seeing that's the biggest thing back on a shipper, right? Like you guys could do shipper help as well. Is that the shipper needs to know, like, this is the shipment. I'm moving from here to here. And when the driver shows up and he says he's going from here to here, and you're like, no, you should be going from here to here. Like, there's a lot of...
Well, and there's a lot of drivers that are getting redirected, like mid-transit. Somehow, I don't know if they're in people's TMSs. Like, I don't understand how they're
macro
on
point.
Something.
Macro point.
But some way they're knowing that this driver is hauling this load to this load, and it's this specific person. They have their phone number somehow. And then they're calling and saying, hey, I'm the broker XYZ, and the shipment's now going here, and they bring it to a cross dock.
Yeah.
So for the spirits of that, deal it.
Yeah.
And that would be another thing, like on even just the inbound calls that, for a carrier level, being able to know, like, this is the actual broker that you spoke to.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That shouldn't even happen.
No, I know, right?
Wow, but they don't vet not everybody, but a lot of times they're not calling back and re-vetting, and there almost needs to be like a code word, like, hey, like, whenever like you were young and your parents were like, hey, if somebody asks you to pick you up, like, you say yellow or whatever. There's be like a code word between brokers and carriers, like if something's changed, I'm using this code word or whatever. Or they have WireBee and they can vet that it's from that phone number.
Yeah.
Code word will not work because everybody will know it.
Yeah, right.
It's just WireBee, that's the answer. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for jumping on. And yeah,
thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
That's how everybody can reach you guys. Say all the wirebee.com and
come see us here at Broker Carrier Summit, but also go to our website and fill out the form and we'll get in touch.
www.wirebee.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then you can find me on all social media. It's NTWD Equip Trans TRANS anywhere. Nationwide Equipment Transportation. And you can look up CVS and I come up. So yeah.
We'll follow him.
He's kind of a big deal, everybody.
That's okay.
Can't believe we're on our podcast.
Thanks for having us, Danielle.
Of course. Bye, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Tell me everything. Tell me everything.